The locksmith tightens the final screw on my front door, while I stand on the walkway I paid to have paved 3 years ago. My key is still in my hand, but I already know it won't work anymore. The locks are different now, shiny and new where the old brass used to be. My sister stands on the porch holding a manila folder against her chest like a shield. She won't look directly at me, just past my shoulder at something in the distance. My mother watches from the driveway, arms crossed, her face calm in a way that makes my stomach turn. I haven't missed a single mortgage payment. I haven't moved out. I didn't sell this house. But the locksmith finally turns to me and says quietly, I was given a deed. I'm sorry. That's when it hits me. My home is no longer legally mine. My sister lifts the manila folder slightly and says in a voice that tries to sound reasonable, Mom handled everything while you were away. It's all legal. Legal. The word hangs in the air between us like smoke. I look at my mother, waiting for her to explain, to apologize, to tell me this is some terrible misunderstanding. Instead, she uncrosses her arms and takes a step closer. This is what's best for the family, Kathleen. Diane needs stability right now, and you've always been fine on your own. Fine on your own. As if that justifies stealing my house while I was traveling for work. My name is Kathleen Foster. I'm 34 years old, and I work as a municipal records administrator for the county clerk's office. I know how property transfers work. I know how deeds are filed, how signatures are verified, how the system is supposed to protect people from exactly this kind of betrayal. I bought this house 6 years ago with money I saved from working 2 jobs through my 20s. Every mortgage payment came from my account. Every repair, every improvement, every property tax bill has my name on it. This is my home. Or it was, until my mother decided it should belong to my younger sister instead. I stand there on my own walkway, looking at these 2 women, who share my blood, but clearly don't share my understanding of boundaries or basic decency. The locksmith packs up his tools, avoiding eye contact with all of us. He knows something wrong just happened, but it's not his job to question legal documents. He's just the person who changes locks when someone presents the right paperwork. My sister finally meets my eyes, and I see something there I've seen my whole life. Not guilt. Not shame. Just that quiet certainty that she deserves whatever she's been given, that the world should arrange itself around her needs. My mother taught her that. Rewarded it. And now I'm standing here watching the consequences. I don't yell. I don't cry or beg or make a scene on the lawn that might give the neighbors something to talk about. Instead, I take a slow breath and say very calmly, I'd like to see that deed. My sister clutches the folder tighter. My mother steps between us. There's no point making this difficult, Kathleen. What's done is done. Diane will take good care of the house. Take good care of my house. The house I scraped together a down payment for. The house I chose because of the oak tree in the backyard and the way morning light comes through the kitchen window. The house that represents every sacrifice I made to build something stable and my own. This pattern isn't new. My whole life, Diane has been the one who needed help. When we were kids, she needed extra tutoring that cost money our parents didn't have, so I worked part-time at 15 to help cover it. When she dropped out of college halfway through her second year, she needed somewhere to stay, so I gave up my apartment's spare room for 8 months. When she couldn't keep a job, she needed financial support, which somehow always came with the expectation that I would contribute because I was doing fine. And I was fine. I worked hard, saved carefully, asked for nothing, and built a life that didn't depend on anyone else. Apparently, that made me the perfect person to take from. I look at my mother, this woman who raised me to be independent and responsible, who praised my work ethic and my sensible choices. I always thought she was proud of me. Now I realized she just thought I didn't need her attention because I wasn't falling apart. Diane was the one who needed saving, over and over, so Diane got the focus, the support, the endless second chances. And I got told I was fine on my own, like being capable was a punishment instead of an achievement. My mother's expression doesn't change. She's not conflicted or apologetic. She's already decided this is right, and nothing I say will change her mind. I turn and walk to my car without another word. Behind me, I hear my sister say something to my mother in a low voice, probably asking if I'll cause problems. I don't look back. I drive to a coffee shop 3 blocks away, and sit in the parking lot with my hands shaking on the steering wheel. Then I pull out my phone and do what I should have done the moment I saw that locksmith. I request a copy of the public record. Property deeds are public documents. Anyone can access them. Within minutes, I have a request confirmation. The deed transfer will be available for review within 24 hours. I forward the confirmation to my personal email and my work email. Then I sit there, breathing carefully, letting the shock settle into something sharper. That night, I stay in a hotel. It feels surreal, paying for a room when I own a house less than 2 miles away. Owned a house. Past tense now, apparently. I can't sleep, so I open my laptop and start making notes. Dates, times, conversations, everything I can remember about the last few weeks. I've been traveling for work, attending a conference in another state, gone for 8 days total. The timing can't be a coincidence. My mother knew I'd be unreachable, too busy with meetings and presentations to check my mail or notice anything wrong at home. She used that window deliberately. This wasn't impulsive. This was planned. The deed copy arrives in my email the next morning. I read it 3 times, getting angrier with each pass. The transfer date is from 6 days ago, right in the middle of my trip. The document shows my signature at the bottom, neat and official looking, transferring all ownership rights to Diane Foster for the sum of $1. $1. Not even the pretense of a real sale. Just a transfer between family members, the kind that happens all the time when parents pass property to children or siblings sort out estates. Except I never signed this. I never agreed to any of this. And that signature, while it looks similar to mine, isn't quite right. I work with documents every day. I review property transfers, verify signatures, check notary stamps against county records. It's literally my job to catch irregularities in official paperwork. And now, looking at my own stolen deed, I see them. The signature has the right letters, the right general shape, but the pressure is wrong. The way I write my K has a specific loop I developed in high school and never changed. This K is close, but flatter. Whoever forged this did a decent job, good enough to pass a casual glance, but not good enough to fool someone who knows my actual signature. The question is whether it's good enough to fool the county recorder who processed it. Then I notice the notary stamp. Every notary has a unique identification number registered with the state. I pull up the county database, something I have access to through my work credentials, and search for the notary number on this deed. It takes me to a name I don't recognize, a notary who works at a small legal services office across town. I check the notary log, the record of every document this person has stamped in the past year. The log shows the date of my deed transfer, the document type, and the location where it was notarized. But something's off. The timestamp shows this deed was notarized at 3 in the afternoon. That same day, that same notary stamped 4 other documents, all in the morning. Then nothing until the next day. My deed sits alone in that afternoon time slot, out of sequence with the rest of the notary's normal workflow. I don't call my mother. I don't confront my sister. Instead, I do what my professional training taught me to do. I file a formal records review request with the county recorder's office. It's a standard procedure, available to anyone who believes a recorded document contains errors or irregularities. The request form asks for specific concerns. I list them carefully: signature inconsistencies, notarization timing questions, lack of consideration in the transfer amount, and absence of any prior communication or agreement. The form goes to a review clerk, someone I've worked with before on other cases, but who doesn't handle my request directly because of the obvious conflict of interest. The county takes these reviews seriously. Property fraud is a crime, and rushed paperwork often hides something wrong. While I wait for the review process to begin, my sister starts making changes to my house. I know because a neighbor texts me photos. Diane has hired someone to paint the front door a completely different color. She's removed the flower boxes I installed last spring. She's even put up new curtains visible from the street, replacing the ones I spent weeks choosing. She's marking territory, erasing me from the space I created, making it hers as quickly as possible. Maybe she thinks if she changes enough things fast enough, it'll somehow make the theft more legitimate. Maybe she's just enjoying the house she's always been jealous of. Either way, she's acting like someone who believes she's won. 3 days after I file the review request, I get a phone call. It's from a clerk in the recorder's office, someone I've met a few times at county meetings. Her voice is quiet, careful, professional. "Ms. Foster, I'm calling about the records review you submitted. I need to ask you a direct question, and I need you to answer honestly. Did you authorize the property transfer recorded on the 23rd of last month?" I tell her the truth. No. I was out of state at a conference. I never signed any transfer document. I never agreed to give my house to anyone. There's a pause on the other end of the line. Then she says, "I thought that might be the case. We are going to need to escalate this review." Within 48 hours, the deed is officially flagged for irregularities. A notice goes out to all parties listed on the document: me, my sister, my mother as the person who initiated the transfer, and the notary whose stamp appears on the paperwork. The notice explains that the transfer is under formal review pending verification of authenticity and proper procedure. Until the review is complete, the property status is frozen. Diane can't sell it, refinance it, or make any legal changes to it. She can live there, because she's already changed the locks and moved in, but she has no actual power over it. My mother calls me 4 times that day. I don't answer. Instead, my mother sends emails. Long ones, full of justifications and emotional explanations. She writes about how Diane has struggled, how she deserves a stable home, how I've always been so strong and independent that I don't need as much support. She writes about family obligations and helping each other, and how I'm being selfish by making this difficult. Not once does she acknowledge that what she did was theft. Not once does she apologize for forging my signature, or stealing my house while I was traveling for work. She just keeps explaining why she was right to do it, why I should understand, why I should let it go and move on. None of her explanations fix the fact that procedure wasn't followed. None of her emotions change the irregularities in the paperwork. Then my mother tries a different approach. In a new email, she claims she was acting on my behalf, that I'd mentioned wanting to help Diane, and she was just facilitating what I'd already agreed to. It's a lie, and not even a clever one. But buried in that email is something more concerning. She mentions having power of attorney, the legal right to act in my name for important decisions. This is news to me. I never signed a power of attorney document. I never gave my mother or anyone else the authority to make legal decisions on my behalf. But if she's claiming this now, she might have forged that too. I forward the email to the review clerk with a simple note. I have never granted power of attorney to anyone. The review board requests all supporting documentation for the original deed transfer. This includes any power of attorney agreements, any prior written communication about the transfer, any proof that I consented to or knew about the change in ownership. My mother scrambles to produce something, anything, that makes a story work. She sends old text messages where I mention Diane struggling financially. She sends emails where I said I wished I could help more. She tries to create a narrative of implied consent, of reading between the lines, of understanding what I really meant. But none of it amounts to legal authorization. None of it includes my actual signature on an actual power of attorney document. Because that document doesn't exist. It never did. The review board meets 4 weeks after I filed my initial request. I'm asked to appear and provide testimony under oath. I explain the timeline, the conference trip, the day I came home to find locks changed and my sister holding a deed I never signed. I provide my actual signature on multiple documents for comparison. I explain my work background, the fact that I know exactly what proper procedure looks like, and the specific irregularities I noticed in the forged deed. The board listens carefully, taking notes, asking clarifying questions. They treat this seriously because property fraud is always serious, but especially when it involves family members exploiting trust and access. My sister is asked to testify. She arrives looking nervous, without the confident certainty she had on my porch that first day. The board asks her directly, "Did your sister tell you she wanted to transfer this property to you?" Diane hesitates, then says, "My mother said she did." The board asks, "But did your sister tell you herself?" Diane goes quiet. The board asks if she was present when I supposedly signed the transfer document. She says no. The board asks if she questioned why the transfer was happening while I was out of state. She has no answer. After her testimony, my sister stops calling me. She stops texting. She goes completely silent, and I realize she finally understands what my mother did. She finally sees that she's not the beneficiary of a generous gift. She's the accomplice to a crime. 6 weeks after the review began, I received the official decision by certified mail. The deed transfer is invalidated. The board found substantial evidence of forgery, including signature analysis that confirms the document was not signed by me, notarization irregularities that suggest rushed processing, and absence of any legitimate power of attorney or consent. Ownership reverts to me immediately and automatically. The fraudulent deed is removed from public records and replaced with a notation explaining the invalidation. The decision includes a recommendation for criminal investigation into the forgery and fraud. My mother will be questioned by the district attorney's office. So will the notary whose stamp was used inappropriately, possibly without their knowledge. The consequences for my mother go beyond the legal ones. Her credibility collapses under the weight of her own arrogance. She'd been so sure she could manipulate the system, so confident that family loyalty would keep me quiet, so certain that she knew better than everyone else what was best. Instead, the same system she tried to use against me turned on her. Her friends, the ones who initially sympathized with her story about helping her struggling daughter, distance themselves when they learn about the forgery. Her church community, where she's been an active member for decades, treats her differently now. She's not trusted the way she used to be. People wonder what else she might be capable of if she could steal her own daughter's house without remorse. I changed the locks on my house. Legally this time, with my own locksmith, my own money, my own authority. I walked through the rooms Diane tried to make hers, stripping away the changes she forced on my space. I repaint the front door its original color. I replace the curtains. I put my flower boxes back. Reclaiming my home isn't just about fixing what was damaged. It's about making a statement to myself. No one gets to take what's mine just because they decided they need it more. No one gets to forge my signature and steal my stability because they think I'll be fine without it. No one gets to punish me for being capable and independent by treating me like I don't deserve what I've built. I don't announce my victory. I don't gloat or send triumphant messages to my mother or sister. I simply live in it. I go back to my job, where my colleagues now know I'm not just good at catching fraud in other people's documents. I proved I could catch it in my own. I continue building my life, the one I chose, in the home I earned. My mother sends occasional emails, still trying to explain herself, still asking me to understand her intentions. I don't respond. Understanding her doesn't change what she did. My sister moves into a small apartment across town, back to struggling, back to needing help. She doesn't ask me for any. Some people spend their whole lives trying to take what others have built. But if someone has to steal what's yours in secret, it was never theirs to begin with. Know your worth. Protect your name. And walk away into a life no one else gets to control.